Our first series has concluded, but we still got a lot of more StarCraft action coming our way. And of course, as you may have already seen, I am not joined by Nathanius anymore. I'm in fact joined by In Control.
What's the upgrade?
Jeff? How you been?
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah?
What have you been up to the past month or two?
What have I not been up to is the better question.
I don't know.
I don't know either. I got nothing. There's no follow-up.
All right. I'm super excited about this next series.
Me too.
Rail versus Elazer. I think this is probably one that a lot of people will look at and say, like, this is a bit tough for Rail. Not only is he kind of one of the underdogs in the round of 8, but I think this specifically playstyle-wise is kind of a bad matchup for him in a lot of ways. Elazer really likes being aggressive. How do you feel about this one?
Rail is just constantly underrated. You know, I know that you were talking about stylistically. This is we were talking about this before the cameras and all the production was on. That stylistically this is rough because Elazer favors against Rail. But Rail just has this sometimes. Sometimes a Protoss player steps forth that has absolutely no shame. They're not afraid to do the most dirty, the most disgusting, stupid stuff. And that guy's Rail. And a big theory for us as the commentators and the Protoss Conclave is it's because he skips out on GGs. He saves his time. He does not type GG. And by doing that, he's able to even have less integrity. Like, he's able to do builds that most people would not feel comfortable doing.
I think my favorite one that Rainer told me about was he said, because he was saying, like, you know, I have no idea what's going to happen in that match versus Rail. He said, because the last time I played against him, he built a forge at 2 minutes and got +1 weapons and then attacked me and died. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Literally anything is on the table. But in case you guys are wondering, once again, in case you missed the standings, we are going to go over them one more time so you guys can see how things are kind of progressing right now.
Whoa.
You can see that Lambo and Cyril, Rainer, and Showtime all leading up by winning their first series here in the round robin. And the remaining 4 players are going to be dropping that first series. But we still got 6 other series that are going to be played by each one of these players. Still a lot of time to change those standings and to try and get a higher seed. But of course, the further you can get, it's not just about qualifying for the playoffs and just getting a slightly better seed to match up against a better opponent. You actually just get seeded further into the bracket. You get to play less matches and immediately start making it into further prize money, I would say.
Well, that's certainly true. I think it's worth mentioning for the pro gamers, the first objective is just to be in the top 6.
Yeah.
Like, yes, of course, you know, being Cyril or getting in the semifinals, that's great, but just get in the top 6. So right now, this is a very interesting match. Both Rail and Elazer are 0-1. And again, like Ravi just pointed out, there's a whole bunch more StarCraft to be had. That being said, starting off 0-2, when you still have, like for Rail, he's got Cyril still coming up. You've still got some of these absolute monsters, so it's like you're looking at, if you're 0-2, you're going to be 0-3, 0-4, or not even 0-4, but like you're going to lose 3 or 4. Does that get you to the top 6? Maybe it doesn't, though. It gets close.
And of course, if you guys are interested in some of the other awesome matches that are happening, I believe that Zombie Grub, Wardy, and Base Trade TV are all broadcasting a bunch of other awesome matches. We got Lambo versus Petit Drogo, we got Rainer versus Showtime, and Cyril versus Hero Marine, all happening on each one of those channels respectively. Zombie Grub, Wardy, and Base Trade TV.
Rainer, Showtime. That's
Rainer
a good one.
Showtime is a really good one.
If I wasn't paid to be here right now, I would not watch our match. I would be on the Wardy channel.
I appreciate the honesty, and
but
I've got to say, it's also something I was really looking forward to because I know that Rainer was saying he has specifically prepared some stuff for Showtime, so I'm expecting some cool stuff.
He says a lot of things. He's a young man, but if you're hearing us say this right now, that means you are hanging out with us, so thank you very much. I would say this is going to be a good match as well. I'm excited for it. It's a lesser, you know, do you look at this card, if this is a UFC fight, do you go, Rail Elazer, that's the main one? No, you probably don't, but it's a sleeper special. This could get really good.
It's definitely going to get dirty. That's one thing we can probably expect. Downright dirty and crazy. So I'm looking forward to this. What do you want to see from Rail? Because I know you were saying there's like the weirdness that he can toss out there. Do you think it's going to be about Rail trying to find a way to set the pace here? So Elazer doesn't get to do his own stuff?
Start off super weird. I'd love to see the cannon rush. He's beaten he beat Cyril with the cannon rush. He's beaten very good players with it. So go for that. If not that, then the kind of funny thing is with Rail, you know it's a timing attack. You're not expecting Mothership and Tempest and stuff like that. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be some kind of cheesy timing attack. And for Elazer, it's funny because that's actually what he's trying to do. So it's going to be who can punch first and who's going to punch harder.
Yeah, and I know that Rail, he is one of the guys who plays more ladder than almost anyone else out there. It's like you look at the ladder, the number of games played on Europe, and you see Rail up there at #1, and then in second place, it'll be someone with 60% of the games that Rail has played. So he grinds out a lot of games, partially because he doesn't GG, so he has more time to do that. Games. But beyond that, he's also played a lot of games versus players like Elazer and stuff. And I know one of the things he said he's really been struggling with was the Nidus Worm. That's something that Elazer continuously keeps throwing at him, and it's something that has really been a problem for him.
It's a problem for everybody. It's very strong right now.
So I know that a lot of Protoss players, we're just waiting for the game to get started and stuff, guys. But I know a lot of Protoss players, like the way that they've adapted to try and say, like, okay, I'm going to try and deal with the Nidus Worm. We've been seeing a lot more Robo openings, just immediately get out that Immortal, have it well positioned, try and deal with the Nidus Worm, maybe get out Stalkers and stuff. Anything else is talking about. Do you feel like trying to deal with the Nidus Worm is going to, I mean, I guess you said that there's a cannon rush and stuff that you can do to just completely bypass the Nidus Worm potential early on. But do you feel like there's still a lot of options there for Protoss players to try and put on weird pressure builds and not worry about the Nidus Worm?
Well, I think it's not that you necessarily don't worry about it, but I do think over time people are getting better about it. I know that it still has a pretty successful win rate, and that's just because a lot of times it still is catching a little off guard, and it is strong.
Yeah.
That being said, though, I think players are getting better about dealing with it. I mean, it was already WESG and Katowice where, yes, you, of course, did see the Nidus, but it wasn't like every single Zerg game was just a Nidus all-in. It's not the point where it's so broken that there's nothing else that you do. It's just that it's very strong. And, in fact, we saw a lot of really good players lose because they went with the Nidus and it got countered. So we're seeing more Robo openings, but instead of like DT and Archon drop, it's been a couple of Immortals if they really think you're going to go for that Nidus. And if an Immortal starts shooting the Nidus, it's not going to get up. And if you're really all in off that Nidus, you actually just lose the game. So it's back and forth. But to your point, if Elazer's had success against Rail with it, then Elazer's the kind of guy that's going to return to that well. He's going to keep drinking.
Oh, absolutely.
Keep drinking.
Guy who's definitely gotten some big results in the past, and a lot of it based off of his kind of nicely, weirdly timed aggression. Looks like the first map is finally revealed. We're going to be going into year 0 from map #1. Any kind of general thoughts? I know this is like one of the bigger maps out there, which doesn't matter for all the Nidus from that stuff that we've been talking about as much, but definitely has other impacts.
It's funny because usually a Protoss player really likes a map like this, and it's bigger, it's wide, it's long, so those timing attacks from the Zerg take longer to get there. In Rail, not to paint the wrong picture, it's not like he has to all in. He's not just a super mega all in player. He is very much so an aggressive and timing attack oriented player. I'm really not going to, steer you wrong on that. But this map is a big macro map, and usually Protoss players want to play more defensive, take a third, take a fourth, and get to that late game where they feel pretty confident. But for Rail, I don't think that's really what he's going to do. So I would have been interested to see the vetoes, because this might have been even like an Elazer pick, to be honest with you, which is typically a Protoss map.
All right, we'll find out in just a little bit. Looks actually like they're still discussing all of the map vetoes and everything, make sure that everything looks good for them. But yeah, I'm excited to see where things are going to go. I know I've been able to talk a little bit with Rail. He's been having a bit of trouble lately just because he was traveling to Katowice, WSG. I mean, a lot of the players have, but I know one notable thing that not just Rail, but I mean even Lambo and a few other players are commenting on was the fact that Rail has been one of those guys who's like maybe up around 6.8, 6.7k MMR or something, but in the past week he did drop down to almost like 6.1k MMR, and if you're not familiar with what that kind of drop of 600, 700 MMR means, that's a really, really big drop. I know Rail felt very unconfident moving into today's series, so it's going to be another kind of hurdle for him to overcome. Is just he's not feeling good about his play either.
I mean, 6.8k is like more than top 10. EU, which is incredible, and then 6.1 to give you an idea. Rotterdam's one of his 17 accounts that he has in the GM ladder is around that. It'd be on the same page. The Muslim Zerg is about 6.1 maybe. No, it's like 5.8, but it's in the ballpark.
Yeah, it's a pretty big drop.
It's a very big drop.
Not really sure. So I know that he said part of it is just like he feel like he hasn't been able to practice as much, which I guess is like a whole other interesting thing in and of itself, right? Where if you're a guy who is used to practicing more and playing more games of StarCraft than literally everyone else, do you kind of start to lose some of your advantage if you just stop playing because you have to travel? Does it hurt you more?
It kind of goes player to player. I mean, if you truly are just an absolute grinder like Rail, and maybe you're not working with as and this sounds more negative than it really is, but you don't have like as much incredible talent like a Scarlet or something like that who doesn't practice very much, then yeah, maybe it affects you more. But to me personally, I don't think it's necessarily that. I think for me, it sounds like a really bad week of laddering, which can happen, especially for a guy like. And we don't talk about this that often. We used to talk about it a lot more when White Raw was an active pro gamer. But like, if you're a more cheesy style, sometimes it can click and you can get these incredible runs and does really well. And obviously he's got great skill to back it up. But at other times too, you can have a bad streak and they end up being way more swingy. So obviously 6.7, 6.8 to 6.1, there's really no explanation for that. That's incredible. He's tilting out of his mind right now. Like that is it's just leagues different. Like there's very good players at 6.1, but there's like hundreds. Whereas at the top, I mean, not literally hundreds because people will be quick. No, we only have 200. Anyways, the point is that's a more accessible rank. 6.8, no. That's like I said, there's 10-ish guys on all of Europe that can actually get that rank, and he is one of them.
So pretty tough that he's not feeling that great right now, but we'll see where things go as we're still just waiting for the players. Oh no, it looks like the players are ready. I do also want to note that during this time that we've been waiting for, I think, Rail to get ready, I believe that Showtime went up 1-0 versus Rainer. So Showtime already looking strong.
Yeah. And you know, the story of Rainer continues to be, obviously, again, it's early in this round robin, and even in this round robin is already a good result for Rainer, but with last year, him taking Serral to Game 7, him being kind of the young buck, stepping onto the scene, almost making it to BlizzCon. My expectation this year was he would be neck and neck with Serral as like the two gods, unstoppable. So far, he's been stoppable. People have been beating him. Yeah,
it was really interesting. I was talking with Lambo a little bit about this, and I think he was saying that the thing about Rainer is that he does take kind of almost not to the same degree as you were saying with like Rail or White Raw, but Rainer does with his playstyle take risks, and sometimes they backfire. And I think that oftentimes does hurt him. He does get knocked out of tournaments sometimes due to that. But regardless, guys, we're gonna hop into this game, this Protoss versus Zerg. No Rainer here, as we're gonna be starting on top of the red Zerg player from Team Clash. He is Elazer.
I'm sorry, what team did you say?
Oh, sorry, not Clash. Oh my God, Team.
Yikes! Nathanius, get over here.
I'm already getting pulled off.
Team Clash. Ugh.
He was so iconic on that team.
He was. And now he's just on Team Ago. And his opponent, hailing from Eastern Europe, in the top right-hand side, it's the blue Protoss, Rail. You know why he's named Rail?
Why?
I don't know.
It makes for some great puns, though. Every single time he wins, he railroads his opponent.
Do you know what railroading means?
Yeah, it's like when a train runs over something.
No. You don't know to be railroaded? You don't know what it means?
I don't, but I feel like I shouldn't say it anymore now.
I like how we get some StarCraft here on the broadcast, and then we also get like socialization learning lessons. You learned about the show Drag Race on here. Now you're learning about railroading not actually meaning a train running you over.
Jeff, we woke up too early for this.
It is, and I haven't even had a monster.
Can't do this.
It's no caffeine. This is just raw me right now. Probe gets in here, scouts all the normal stuff. So Elazer's always going to take that gas. There's some Zergs, and they're the rare breed these days that don't take the gas. It's just too strong. It's just too much. Could be a Nidus, could be speed, could be roaches, could be Ravagers. You need to prepare for all of it. Even taking the drone off the gas. Like, is that something? Not really. With Elazer, there's a certain breed of Zerg on Europe, and they'll do anything. Elazer's one of them.
And we already see some of the weirdness of Rail coming out as he immediately starts up a Zealot. I know that I've seen Rail play a lot of PvZs where he does this thing where he gets up the early Zealot, but then he doesn't actually go for some super crazy fast pressure. He doesn't actually do anything super different. Sometimes it seems like it's maybe just him trying to deal with the weirdness or the all-ins or the shenanigans that a Zerg player can throw at him.
Or it's just you overthinking it. It's for that right there.
Yeah. Boop.
All your theories are but dust in the wind.
Well, the Stargate coming up, it's going to be a pretty well-scouted Stargate soon, but the Zealot gonna... Oh, okay. Got a little bit sprayed there.
Yeah, the Zealot at this stage, to me, is again Rail kind of playing to his identity. It's simply so that 2 Lings don't get in your base. And there's a lot of Protoss like Neeb, in fact, who are pretty okay with 2 Lings getting in. He's got an Adept coming out. He'll chase you down. Whatever. Scout out his stuff. That's not how he's going to win. He's going to try to outplay you. Rail, on the other hand, wants you to not know what's going on. And if Elazer's Overlord doesn't make its way up in the main, the Stargate's not the most crazy thing. We see a Phoenix queued up, by the way, instead of an Oracle, so it's a little bit different. But Rail's the kind of player that wants you to be guessing. You want to be guessing what Rail's doing. If you know what Rail is doing, he is not playing to his strengths. If you don't know what he's doing, then anything is possible because that's how he portrays himself. That's how he plays.
And Elazer, of course, still just sitting on that 1 gas geyser, so it looks like Rail's not going to have to worry about some of the super-duper early Nidus Worm-all-ins or anything. He's starting to mine all 3 drones on that gas geyser, just getting up his Spore Caller, just getting ready to deal with the eventual expectation that like an Oracle and the Phoenix will start making their way across the map. But it's not just going to be an Oracle. We got a second Stargate on the way, and more Oracles being made still.
Yeah, and he's hiding him, too. He's not showing it. Phoenix is going to go off and clear the Overlords that are watching the perimeter, if you will. Now, Elazer's being greedy beyond greedy. If you look, there is no tech, as you pointed out, just the 1 gas. So it's just pure drones forever. It's going to probably be like 65, 70 drones. And that is insane. Absolutely. Actually, Roach, yeah, as I said, I was like, no, you would never do that. So it should be like 50-ish, 60 drones. Anyways, the point is, this is getting weird. It's now 2 Oracles queued up off the double Stargate. So this is going to be a like 6, 7, 8 Oracle timing attack of sorts, and that's good, unless the Lazer's going like just mass Roaches, and if you try to take a 3rd behind that, tough.
Yeah, 3rd base going up now. The Roach Warren is still on its way to completion, so Rail may need to use those Oracles' energy just to try and defend the 3rd base, which, I mean, hey, the Oracles are going to ignore armor. They're going to be able to take out Roaches pretty quickly, but they eventually run out of energy, and that's going to be a problem, so we'll see. He's moving in now, or at least moving further across the map right now.
Yeah, they're hiding there. He grabbed the tower for himself, so this is undetected completely. This is not scouted at all. Double Robo behind this, by the way, so a good switch here for the Roaches.
Yeah, I mean, so far in a lot of ways, this is kind of that opening that you were saying Rail needs to go for. This sort of unscouted, very weird attack as he moves in with the 3 or 4 Oracles, kills off a decent number of drones. I mean, no drone pull whatsoever over here from Elazer. He's not going to try and run them away. Just says, well, I got a Spore Caller and 2 Queens. I'll clean these up eventually.
Yeah, a little bit weird. The Phoenix could have picked up one of the Queens to just reduce a little bit of that DPS, but did not do that. 2 Oracles die for 13 drones. Pretty okay for Rail. He's going to be... I mean, if you look at just the straight-up cost, it's not super great in terms of gas. It's 300 gas down. But at the same time, you're not looking for mass Oracle. If 2 Oracles survive, that's plenty to be tagging, to be doing stasis wards, all that kind of stuff, or continue harassing if you really want to. And a 4 Oracle investment's not super much. Just keep in mind, he also spent money on a 2nd Stargate, and this was his tech choice. So,
yeah,
again, 15 drones dead now. That's pretty darn good. He's going to be okay with that. But it's not lights out, game over, and we're like, oh, wow, Elazer's just completely dead now. The Robo switch, however, is something that I like quite a bit. If this is able to go off for a while, this is some good counterplay. Because basically off a double Stargate like that, you're like, wow, I've got time, right? No.
Yeah. I like that Elazer actually read a lot of this early situation pretty well, though. He only got up the early 6 Roaches, maybe to deal with like an Adept pressure or something that would come in at the same time, but then he just went straight back into droning. So even after losing all those drones earlier on, he's back up to 74, and now he's got time on year 0, where it takes a long time to make its way across the map. Immortals and Sentries are going to go to the bottom left-hand side, and all the Roaches are going to pop.
Scouted by the Zergling. Gets on the tower and sees it.
Zergling doesn't even get cleaned up, so all the Roaches already repositioning themselves, and the Hydra's going to be here in time to maybe defend this 4th base. We'll see.
Yeah, this push out is so weird. You got to recall back now. You got to do that now. You're not going to be able to run away from this.
Is there even a Warp Prism? No, there's no Warp Prism on the map, so he's not going to have something like to help pick up these Immortals either. This is a problem.
They have to be. The fact that he's not recalling and he's taking all this damage means that when he does recall, at least one's going to die. It's just going to die anyways.
I think they're both dead.
So this is, it's early, okay? We're only a few months into it, but this is the worst attack of 2019. It literally just walks across the map. There's no prism. There's nothing at all. He doesn't recall. He's just like, have these. Take them away. I don't need them anymore. Now, the game's not over, but it was worse. Like, Immortals are one of those units that, 6, 7, 8 of them is fantastic. 2 or 4 is just about nothing. So he's going to hope that Elazer gives him more time here. But that's a Nidus.
Yep. Elazer is not doing anything of the sorts. He's not worrying about taking up a bunch more. He's getting units in position to try and put some pressure on the third base while he gets up a Nidus Worm and even gets an Overlord with a couple of units to drop the main base. He's going to potentially depower. No, I don't think he will depower any of the Robos. Gets one of those pylons softened up, draws the army over here, allowing that drop to make its way to the main base pretty safely, although the Phoenix actually catches it, as it is taking some damage there, but a couple Hydras going to be able to push that back.
Yeah.
What's a warp in?
It doesn't seem like much, but it pairs with the Nidus there quite nicely. It actually defends the Nidus. It's got some kind of weird synergy here that Elazer probably spent way too much time thinking about, but it is working out, as the Nidus will finish here. And the army is poking down in the southern part of the map, too, if you can look at the mini-maps. The Nidus does get denied, but did that win up enough space? The third base is under attack.
Yeah, losing the gateway over there, losing the pylon, might be losing another one of these gateways, and a lot of the Roaches and Hydras now making their way behind the mineral line. Remember how many Zealots you just saw for Rail? Well, besides the Immortals, that is the beef of his army, and they're going to have a hard time getting into this mineral line. This wall-in is actually going to start hurting him more than helping him soon.
The thing is, the Zerg army can get cleared up, but it's already killed going on 20 probes. He's down to sub 50 versus the 75, 73. And it looks like this won't even be a cleanup, right? Like, it's going to trade out the army, essentially. The Immortals getting shot down on the left side there. On the right side, they're pretty low as well. That's going to be it. Rail taps out and is out of here. Now, did he lose this game because he sent that weird attack? I don't think so. I think the Oracle play was okay, and then the follow-up with Immortals was okay, but it needed something like Storm pretty quickly, or just very determined defensive play. That being said, we'll not know, but what certainly didn't help him was going across the map with the 3 Sentries, 2 Immortals, and like 3 Adepts with no backup at all.
Yeah, no Warp Prism there for a little bit of extra micro potential to keep some of these units alive, or just an escape mechanism or anything, so that really did hurt. Yeah, I think it's just one of those times that you look at that building, you're like, okay, so not going to do that again. We can move on to plan B, whatever. Hopefully
the build was okay. I mean, yeah, Elazer's very good. Sometimes it can make something look like it's worse than it is. Yeah. And to give credit where credit's due as well, for Rail, yes, it was a weird attack, and yes, it did not work at all. But the thing is, man, I'll tell you what, there are alternate universes where that attack is the most brilliant thing in the world, because it's not like Elazer had 200 of this maxed out army. He was only just then starting to ramp up. It's just that, to your point, there was no, he needed a recall, he needed a pylon, a warp, something. There needed to be something else, but other than that, if he denies that 4th base and kills 15 drones like he did, that's really, really good. So Rail loses games like this, but he also wins games off of doing weird stuff. So I don't want to sit up here and just completely blast it. Like, there is some semblance of logic to it.
And of course, guys, there are a lot of other StarCraft matches happening at the same time right now on a lot of the other community streams, such as Zombie Grubs, Wardies, and Base Trade TVs. You guys can see some of the results have already kind of started filtering in. We've, of course, been watching Elazer versus Rail. We know that that's a 1-0 lead for Elazer. But we also have, it looks like, Lamba leading up 1-0 versus Petit Drogo, which is a rematch from WESG, I believe. A pretty interesting one. A lot of mind games should be happening there. We got Showtime leading up 1-0 versus Rainer, as we talked about before. And, of course, it looks like 0-0 still the score for Cyril versus Hero Marine. So that must be a pretty sick macro game, or they're taking a long time to get in the lobbies. One of the two.
Could be.
Looks like the players are pretty much ready. We're going to move into Automaton, another map with a nice, wide-open main base. This is... Whenever I see the Nidus Swarm builds, I feel like this is the most common map that I see them on.
Sure.
So, like you said, it's something that can happen. Elazer definitely not like a one-trick pony. He has a lot of other things that going to be available to him, but I'm sure it's going to be something that, again, is on Rail's mind.
Now, Ruby, you've been commentating for a while. You have gone full-time StarCraft, so I'm gonna ask you something that, and I need you to know this part of it too. If Nathanius is at this desk, he'd be able to do this. So this is a little bit of a trial by fire for you. The map is what now?
Automaton.
Right. But how would Todd say it?
This is the hardest thing I've had.
I understand.
Today.
I understand. You need to understand, I will take your caster card away if you cannot at least come up with an attempt.
Okay. Starting up here in the top right-hand corner of Automaton. No. Okay. Starting up here in the top right-hand corner.
Automaton.
Automaton.
Is the correct answer. Automaton,
okay.
yes.
We have the red Zerg player. He is Elazer from Team Ago.
But you gave it your best shot, and you came close, I will say. You're on your way. You'll be a
One day.
certified commentator by 2020.
Couple more years. Couple more years.
Yes, sure.
And starting down here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, we have the blue Protoss player. He is Rail.
And now, how would, this is your next question. This is easier. It should be. There's a lot of examples of this. How would Roddy introduce the players?
Mates.
No. I'm not asking for an impression. He has a very, if you never noticed this, and this is going to ruin Roddy for everyone, and that's okay. That's kind of what I do. He actually introduces players exactly the same way every single time. On the lower left-hand side, it's the blue Protoss, Rail.
I mean, he always has that lead up though, where he'll be like, "Okay, guys, we're just going in here into the bottom left, and this guy doing pretty cheeky stuff this series." Yeah.
I mean, that was bad, but
Look,
I know you're trying.
I'm not an impressionist. I can only be myself.
Yeah. I know. I know that now.
All right, so let's take a look. This game, I do want to note that Rail changing up things just a little bit. He doesn't go for the super fast Zealot this game. He goes to the Stalker. More normal looking stuff in a lot of ways coming out from Rail. I mean,
Yeah.
going for a Stargate before researching Warp Gates. We'll see where things lead if he is going to try and go for something a little bit more normal this game instead of mixing it up with some weirdness.
It's Rail, man. He's going to be different. Even the Stalker's a little bit off kilter. Obviously not super weird, but the idea here is game one, you saw me make a Zealot, so you're thinking I'm super concerned with getting this wall plugged up. Surprise the Stalker. Now, the slight mistake there is the Stalker should have gone to the other side of the Overlord and pushed it automatically in the other direction. For us Protoss players with their dirty, cheesy tricks, that's just one. Obviously, Elazer's a very good player, so he's probably paying attention, so maybe it doesn't make a difference. But in the off chance that he isn't, you can get 3 or 4 extra shots on that, and that would be the difference. Now, it is going to be an Adept, and it is Oracle first this time. So, again, different things off the same buildings. Let's see if he adds a second Stargate anytime soon here. I doubt it.
Of course, with the faster Oracle over here, that's going to mean that the Phoenix doesn't immediately reveal, I went for a Stargate over here. So we'll see how much Lasers maybe going to be cutting some corners as the Zergling barely just missing out on scouting out that Oracle. There's no Spore Crawlers down just yet, so this is a big opportunity here for Rail, and that Oracle is going to make their way there to the main base before that Spore Crawler's done, I think.
Oh, yeah. You are correct, Ravi. You timed that up perfectly. This Oracle will show up and should get 5 or 6 kills. Anything less than that is not great. And I'll tell you what's even worse than not great. 2 kills and a dead Oracle. Good reaction from Elazer. Bad reaction from Rail.
Yeah, that really, really hurts. A second Oracle's on the way. Or it looks like a third Oracle's on the way here. So he's going to have some additional scouting information. He moves into the third base, but already taking so much damage. He doesn't even get the second drone kill there. This is just not going well right now. He falls out.
Yeah, and if he didn't, it would have died.
Yeah.
Rails haven't. Yeah, you were right. So Ravi before this whole thing was like, no. Elazer stylistically is very strong against Rail. Everything Rail's trying is just getting deflected. I mean, I don't know this, but let's just put it in the little feather in the bonnet of everybody out there. If you play a lot of ladder games, a lot, which all these guys do, but if you're a Rail, I'm guessing he's like these guys' nightly ladder games. He probably plays 5 to 6 games against each of these guys every single day. And if you do the same, if you're kind of a gimmicky, like you do different builds, there's only so many builds and weird things you can do before people kind of dial in on you. It feels like Elazer's dialed in on him. Yeah,
kind of reveal your hand when you play that many games in Rail. It's not just that he plays a lot of these like ladder games. He's not playing many custom games, so there's probably not as many chances to really hide your builds as much versus these guys. Good points. We do have the Hydra Den on the way here for Elazer. Starts up his upgrades. Rail also getting up his own pretty quick +1 weapons over here, adding on some Immortals, getting up the Twilight Council, trying to move into like what seems to be a more normal looking mid game, but he's already going to be playing a little bit from behind, just really not accomplishing as much as he wanted to earlier on. And another Oracle goes down there, trying to dive in on top of the Queen instead of any drones. Yeah, that's an interesting choice.
And interesting is the caster word for bad. He went after the Queen.
Yeah.
Which is like, if Elazer just absolutely doesn't control it, then yes, you'll get that queen. But even then, it's risk reward. I mean, I don't want to make this the biggest of deals, but he's already just suffered, so it's just crazy to watch it. Now he still has the 1 Oracle. I mean, we get to that stage of the game where 2 Oracles, they're not going to kill another 20 drones. It's not going to happen. So it's not the biggest of deals. It's just this guy is already 0-1 in the series, and he's already had a really rough opening, and he's just making it worse for himself. So it's kind of hard to watch.
Yep. He's going to go for the Templar Archives, get up charge.
Very fast forward.
Ooh, okay. So I mean, I do like the general idea of I'm behind, I got to do something. But we see a drop Overlord being made here for Elazer. He's pumping out Hydras. He's already on a really, really healthy worker count as he gets up his 4th base. I'm expecting that Elazer is just looking to try and go for a big attack right now. And while I like the idea of Rail trying to get a fast forward to come out from behind, I feel like this is just going to actually make this defense even harder.
I don't know. I actually love it. Look at the view of Elazer. Like, if you just switch over to Elazer's map vision, it's basically non-existent. There's a single Zergling out on the map, spotting that 4th base, which is kind of the typical one. This is also a flight path area. Notice he doesn't have speed, by the way. But Elazer on the other side is just saying, no, all Rail does is attack. So Rail, at least from my, non-super experienced Rail vision, I would say this is him breaking pace a little bit. You could surprise a Zerg with a 4th, and then you have Storm and an army kind of building up, which is where he's getting to. Yeah. You're in great shape. Of course, as I said, there's the Warp Prism, so he might actually just attack anyways.
Yeah, he doesn't actually have Storm researching right now. It's not finished researching either, so the Roaches are going to unload in the main base. We got the Oracle going to be the first one on site to try and deal with this, and technically the Roaches can, just load back up into the Overlord. The Phoenix is going to cause some problems here, but now the Roaches and the Hydras make their push in at the front. Archon's going to get pushed back, and even if he actually gets cut off over here, if the attack goes into his 3rd base next, his 4th base is not going to be saturated, and that in and of itself is going to cause more problems.
Nidus about to finish, and this is actually my favorite use of the Nidus. Of course, very strong as a timing attack, but here it's going to be used for reinforcements, so it's just going to be a highway, like a teleportation, if you will, from the main to over here. Elazer caught off a little bit with this force. He should be able to kite backwards.
Yeah. 1 force field locks in a couple of Roaches, but Elazer does make his way back. With the Revelation down on that army, that does mean he's going to probably just want to stay out in the map with it, rather than just immediately reveal the Nidus Storm. He does throw that up.
Rail's on equal basis, man. He's got 73 probes. If he was upgrading Storm right now, I'd feel really good about this. He's just not. It's going to be pure units. Now, normally that wouldn't be the greatest, except it's just Roach Hydra. There is no X factor here. It's just going to be a ton of Roach Hydra, and they're looking to be on fairly equal supply. This could be very good for Rail, actually, especially if he catches off a segment of the army.
Well, going to catch a couple of these Roaches over here. More Roaches and Hydras coming in from the Nidus Storm. He's going to try and engage versus Rail as he holds the high ground. Has a little bit of a concave advantage at the beginning of the fight. Starting to give it up as he loses the south side of this trade. There was a Nidus Storm trying to go up in the main base that did get sniped off, so Rail handling that one as well and pushing back this army of the Immortals, barreling through. And +3 weapons also on the way. He cleans up the Nidus Storm. This is, like you said, the only thing missing here was maybe having Storm, but he holds on and has an equal economy.
The only thing that gives me pause is 17 Hydras just finished. So this army of Rail, like, they traded, and that's very good for Rail. I would say that Rail's ahead right now, so don't get me wrong. That being said, if this game continues and Elazer's just like, wait a second, if you just keep making only Zealots and add in like 4 Archons and have your just base of 3 or 4 Immortals, and I make pure Hydra with like a, 1 line of Roaches in front of it, that DPS is out of control. It would take a very positionally favorable fight for Rail to win there. Add Storm, brother. Add it. Just take the upgrade. He's just not doing it.
He wants to go for the push. He's going to catch a lot of these Hydras on the right-hand side, but at the same time, we have a Nidus Storm going up in the natural expansion thanks to an Overseer, an attack coming in to the front of the natural, and now Rail's getting pulled all the way back, but look at this. We got 2 gateways getting depowered, the robotics facility, +3 weapons, also pretty vulnerable. He's going after the pylon. Going to halt that for at least a little bit.
Yeah. The pylons don't matter. That's all he's getting. So this is actually, it's going to buy him some time, but Elazer's not expanding beyond this. And if you look at the tech tree, he's just now, actually no, that's a Nidus attempt. He's not even getting lurkers or anything. I mean, Elazer's dead.
There's no transition point. He just lost so much of his army supply, like you said, to that attack.
Yeah, it's just like 2 tribal cave people found each other and they're like, they're fighting over the carcass of a mammoth, because neither one of these guys is teching to anything, anywhere. They're just lobbing units at each other. But Elazer's getting the worst for the wear here. Every time he spins a drone on a building or something like that, that's actually impacting his economy. They're on equal bases. And again, if you want to reduce Protoss down to just we're just upgrading and fighting each other, yeah, they're the better one.
And unfortunately, Elazer, if you could just find a way to like tech up a little bit more, like you said, throw down a lurker den during all of this, maybe he would be buying time for something, but there's nothing he's buying time for right now. He's not waiting for an upgrade. He's not waiting for a lurker den to finish up or a hive or something. This is it. It's just roaches and hydras and these Nidus swarms going on.
Yep, and no hive tech. So with +3 attack already for the Protoss, and now he's heading in the direction of shield as well. It's going to be multiple upgrade advantage here if the game continues. And there is a 5th base attempt for Elazer, but this needed something more. This needed lurker, hive, something. It's not going to have any of that, and it's weird because you look at Rail, and obviously he should have done something. He literally has 3,000 gas, by the way. Like, there's nothing to be said here. The game's just so simple right now that he's like, I don't know, just keep going.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's the scary thought where you can just warp in like 6 Archons and say, cool, that's the reinforcement for my army is 6 Archons.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're starting to see Elazer get pushed further and further back. He's down in army supply, and when you got roaches to inflate a bit of that supply, that is definitely not good. So Elazer going to try and make some desperation hold here, but Rail did a great job swatting down the Nidus swarms, popping up in every which way, and punishing Elazer for sticking around in this low-tech unit composition for too long.
Yep, and this is a little bit of the trap of the Nidus, I feel. Like, if you do end up in this direction of like, well, I think I can just reinforce and win from there, and then you don't tech up, it gets tunnel vision very quickly, right? Like, you don't lose a fight with Roach Hydra, then immediately tech switch, because then you just die to any attack at all. So he got stuck on this tech.
Yeah, that fight not going quite as well as Rail wanted. He loses all of his zealots in the front line as there is a nice little choke point there that the Hydras were abusing. He's starting to take out the Archons. Jeff, I think he's starting to push Rail back a good bit. Now, Rail still has that massive gas bank, and of course, he did also do a little bit of worker damage here. So I don't think it's entirely bad, but that was definitely not the fight that Rail wanted.
No. And I love this too. Back at home, he's like, you know what? I need Blink. I need Blink. I got 1 shield upgrade. Let's not get another one. It's too expensive. I don't have the gas for it. And only own, 2.5K. Let's get +1 armor. He's just all over the place. He is adding a 2nd robo though. So if we are going to stay in this kind of caveman mode of just making hydras and roaches, then double robo immortal is going to be quite the answer.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of the whole caveman mode, we do see that Elazer is not really looking to tech up either. He said, okay, well, I lost a couple of drones. He replenishes those, and then just throws up another Night Storm and says, well, I have a new base up. So that's the big thing that's going to turn things around for me. So we'll see if that a superior economy is going to help.
Yeah. And randomly, there's 3 Phoenix, by the way, too. He was kind of reinforcing that, which I thought was interesting. He's trying to maybe limit the vision of what's making all these Niduses, but to be honest, Rail should be okay with it. I always like the Dark Shrine, by the way, as an answer for Niduses. Very rarely is there any kind of detection there. Chop them down, have DTs go to work on the army if it sticks around. Always good. But also, Ravi and I, big fans of DTs in general anyways, so.
That's very true. We do have the base being taken out over here, so Rail losing that 5th expansion.
I shouldn't be. I'm starting to get worried for Rail. Like, Rail is...
Oh, yeah.
He's making really... He just never in a million years should lose this game, but he's like kind of getting outmaneuvered by the same thing that's been happening for like 15 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is exactly why Elazer, or this is what Elazer's been waiting on. He says, well, okay, I might not catch you the first 7 Nidus Swarms. Eventually, I'm going to catch you in some of these Nidus Swarms.
He's going to catch him outside. You don't know that reference, do you?
Wait, I didn't even hear what you said.
Catch me outside?
No, I don't know that reference.
Okay.
Should I watch that movie?
You just keep doing StarCraft, man.
I will.
Feels like that's what you do. Just a lot of StarCraft.
You know, I'm full-time StarCraft now, Jeff.
I believe it.
I have some time to watch movies now.
What if I told you Rail was now teching to Storm?
I would believe you.
And this year, the final stage of the game, he's gonna... He's like dead, man. He's actually dead.
Yep. And he agrees.
Oh my god.
GG. Elazer pulls it back from the brink of death. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff that we could talk about in what didn't go well there for Rail and everything. I have to compliment Elazer on the hold, though, because both of us looked at that that attack from what? Come on.
Compliment on the hold.
Elazer?
He just kept making those Roaches Hydras, man. And a lot of people would have stopped at some point, but he just kept doing it.
The attack, absolutely. But there was that big attack coming in from Rail, and Elazer actually just got some really, really good positioning. He picked off all the Zealots. A little bit of miscontrol there from Rail where his army kind of got disjointed, but that hole is what set up everything else for Elazer there.
He also attacked into the nexus of the Zerg production, which is also listen, I don't say that because that's the dumbest mistake ever. It's something every Protoss does on a daily basis. It's just that if he would have attacked from the 5th into the 4th and kind of pushed that way, and the Zerg's reinforcing from the entire other side of the map and probably not getting there in time and not fighting on creep, then Rail wins this game. If Rail texts a Storm, Rail wins this game. Rail throws in a Dark Shrine, he wins the game. If he doesn't just get Nidus for 12 minutes, do you know how many?
I'm with you.
It'd be such an interesting stat to look up how many Nidus attempts he destroyed, because he was like,
he was on
just
top.
shutting him down out there. I was gonna name a defensive NBA basketball player, but I can't think of one. And you don't watch anything other than StarCraft, so you're not gonna help me with that. He was swatting them all down, but then eventually he just got outpositioned and he kept fighting Hydras that were good against his composition.
Well, that is going to be 2-0 for Elazer.